This week, I prepared a special letter, a letter addressed to the President of the United States and a Congress. It is important that America hears Ukraine, and the sooner we are able to provide greater protection against ballistic threats, the sooner we will be able to.
Zelensky's desperate appeal to Trump has fueled fears that Ukraine's missile shield may be nearing a breaking point. Kyiv is reportedly running dangerously low on Patriot systems as Zelensky urgently pushes Washington for more military support. Zelensky's urgent message came as fears grow over fresh Russian missile barrages and possible escalation targeting Kyiv. Mounting Russian attacks and fears of weakening Western support are reportedly pushing Zelensky into an increasingly desperate position. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reportedly sent an urgent letter to Donald Trump as Russia threatens fresh retaliatory strikes. In the reportedly secret letter, Zelensky warned that Ukraine is running dangerously low on critical air defense systems. Zelensky reportedly admitted that Ukraine depends almost entirely on the United States for ballistic missile defense capabilities. Kyiv has now reportedly requested additional Patriot PAC-3 missiles and more advanced air defense systems from Washington urgently. The letter was also distributed to members of the U.S. Congress as Ukraine pushes for faster military aid approvals. Volodymyr Zelensky's letter read, and I quote, "The current pace of deliveries through the PURL program is no longer keeping up with the reality of the threat we face. I ask for your help in protecting Ukraine's skies from Russian missiles. I, on behalf of the Ukrainian people, respectfully ask the President and the U.S. Congress to remain engaged. And to help us secure this vital tool of protection against Russian terror, Patriot missiles PAC-3 and additional systems to stop Russian ballistic missiles and other Russian missile attacks." Unquote. Zelensky warned that current Western weapons deliveries are no longer keeping pace with the scale of Russia's escalating military threats.
Today I spoke with Ursula von der Leyen. I am grateful for her support. Air defense is the top priority. We are also preparing a special format with the European Union, the drone deal, a very promising format. It is impossible to imagine Europe's security without Ukraine. Today, members of the United States Congress also visited Ukraine. It is important that America continues to support Ukraine and that American representatives come here to Ukraine and see with their own eyes what is happening and what threats exist, especially after the Russians carried out a particularly brutal, massive strike overnight into Sunday. This week, I prepared a special letter, a letter addressed to the President of the United States and to Congress. And yesterday, the letter was officially delivered to the institutions in Washington. It is quite rare for the leader of another state to address both the President and Congress of the United States simultaneously with a letter. But the situation now requires action, swift and effective action. It is important that America hears Ukraine. We understand that much of the world's attention is currently focused on the war in Iran. But the war here in Europe must also be brought to an end, a very bloody war that is already in its 5th year at full scale. And the sooner we are able to provide greater protection against ballistic threats, the sooner we will be able to make diplomacy work. As long as Russia continues to rely on missiles, its interest in diplomacy is not real. We must correct this, and we can do so only together with America. Ukraine is grateful to America for all its support, and Ukraine will be even more grateful for a dignified peace and guaranteed security. All of this is possible if there is sufficient determination.
Ukraine appears to be losing allies as 9 nations have pulled out of the ammunition coalition, signaling a worrying contraction in the international effort to supply critical munitions at a moment when Kyiv most needs sustained support. President Pavel says support for the Czech-led ammunition initiative has dropped, according to the Financial Times, highlighting a high-level acknowledgement that political will and funding for the program are ebbing even as battlefield demands remain urgent. Almost half of the backers have withdrawn their support for Ukraine under the initiative, a retreat that undermines the coalition's capacity to replenish stocks and sustain operations, and raises hard questions about how Kyiv will cope with shrinking external supplies. Petr Pavel, president of the Czech Republic, said, and I quote, "But the new difficulty is that only about 9 member states are contributing financially. This initiative has been delivering up to 50% of all large-caliber ammunition to the Ukrainians, so in this sense it cannot be replaced easily by anything else, unquote. Remember, the Czech-led initiative was aimed at supplying Kyiv with millions of shells, a large-scale effort designed to shore up Ukraine's artillery stocks and sustain prolonged defensive and offensive operations on the battlefield. The Czech Republic has delivered more than 3 million artillery shells under the initiative, a substantial contribution that has materially bolstered Kyiv's firepower and demonstrated Prague's central role in coordinating munition support. The Czech president seeks to discuss the coalition at the NATO summit in Ankara in July, hoping to rally remaining members, rebuild momentum for the program, and secure commitments that could prevent further erosion of the initiative's capabilities. Michal Stranad, owner and chief executive of CSG, said, and I quote, "Some of the donating countries basically said that they are not interested in financing it, the initiative, anymore. So they buy directly from us or from some other suppliers. The initiative is not dead, it's still working, but it's a bit slow," unquote. Russia appears to have intensified revenge calls after Ukraine attacked a college in Luhansk, with hardline voices and state-aligned commentators ratcheting up demands for a strong and retaliatory response that they say must not go unanswered. The State Duma chair warned that Ukraine's college attack could result in untold consequences, issuing a stark admonition that such strikes may provoke a severe and unpredictable reaction with far-reaching political, military, and humanitarian fallout.
The criminal regime in Kyiv sent drones to attack defenseless children. 21 children were killed, most of them girls. This is a crime against humanity. There is no statute of limitations on such crimes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and his henchmen bear responsibility for this. Those who fire missiles and drones at children, the elderly and women are scum. Our response must be severe. For our part, we must urge as many MPs in European countries as possible, those who have even a shred of conscience left, to stop aiding terrorists and to do everything in their power to ensure that those who gave the orders, those who directed the drones at the college, are brought to justice. This is a question for those American companies that allow the Kyiv regime to use their satellite constellation. Elon Musk himself must understand that his satellites are being used to kill children. His respectable image is completely at odds with what is actually happening. All this could lead to us using weapons that leave no trace of anyone. We must not let it come to that. Let us honor the memory of the children.
NATO is planning a new command structure to speed up troop deployment to Latvia and Estonia, a reorganization intended to reduce delays and improve coordination so Allied forces can move faster to these frontline states if tensions escalate. The plan is aimed at bolstering allies in the event of a war with Russia, United 24 media reports, reflecting NATO's effort to reassure Baltic members by creating clearer, faster pathways for reinforcements during a high-intensity crisis. The German-Netherlands Corps is set to take charge of defense operations for the two Baltic states, providing a dedicated, regionally focused headquarters with the experience and logistics to coordinate multinational forces on short notice. The setup would help NATO bring in mass at speed to the vulnerable region, officials say, enabling the alliance to concentrate substantial combat power quickly where it is most needed and thereby strengthen deterrence against potential aggression. An army corps typically commands 3 divisions, or about 40,000 to 60,000 troops, giving a sense of the scale of forces that such a command could coordinate and the operational weight it would represent in defense planning. The move would split responsibilities currently being handled by a single multinational headquarters, decentralizing command to create clearer lines of authority and faster decision-making during crisis response. Germany and the Netherlands are now working with NATO and partners to build up assigned forces, coordinating training, logistics, and prepositioning so the Corps can reach operational readiness and execute rapid deployments when called upon. It is still uncertain when the new plan will take effect or how many troops will be deployed, leaving key details pending as alliance leaders finalize command arrangements, force contributions, and timelines.